We do?
We do.
Is it Matt Barrows?
Yes.
And that's good because he's brought to you by our friends at Stockton Honda, Northern California's #1 Honda dealer.
Oh, baby. Well, usually we talk to Matt either the night after the game or the day after the game, I should say. Occasionally, it will be a preview of tonight's game for Monday Night Football.
This game feels like a long time ago now.
It's like, what? This game happened like 7 years ago. What are we even going to talk about? Matt, how is a rare, I mean, I know you're always working, but as we welcome in Matt Barrows from The Athletic. Was this one of those, like not a bye week, but you could enjoy your rare weekend sort of off during the season?
Yeah, for sure. We call this the mini bye because it's not the full week, but you get the weekend off and you get to sort of plan it around turning on Red Zone and enjoying all the games. And boy, those morning games were fun to watch. The end, even the blowout was such a blowout that it was intriguing. So it was a good weekend to have a mini bye. In other words.
On the Niners part, it's nice to get the win Thursday, and then you watch the rest of your division. I wonder how they felt about their next two opponents playing each other. Probably thinking the Cowboys would beat the Cardinals, yet it's flipped around with the Cardinals getting a win. I'm sure that caught the Niners' attention for this week.
Yeah, for sure. And, the Cardinals played well in that Giants game, the game that preceded the 49ers game against the Giants for one half, and you thought, oh, okay, the real Cardinals are emerging in the second half. This is, a rebuilding team, not very many recognizable names, but it's a good team. I mean, they play well. That offensive line was really good. Connor is running well. The quarterback is playing well. They seem to really like the head coach. So, I mean, maybe that's not as big a gimme as everybody circled it as when the schedule came out. They looked pretty good. The Cowboys didn't look so hot. I think that they sort of looked like the way that they have looked the last couple of years or so. The Dolphins, I mean, if you're gonna circle a team that, boy, the 49ers could be playing in February, why not the Dolphins? I mean, they just look like a video game team out there.
Matt, one of the things on this defense, I saw these numbers from your counterpart, David Lombardi, I thought were interesting. Defensive tackle pressures by season. 2019, 75. 2020, 53. 2021, 104. Last year, 75. They're on pace this year for defensive tackles by pressures by the tackles. They're on pace for 204. And it's early. And they're not going to do 204, I don't think. How much of this is opponent? How much of this is, Kinlaw, Hargrave, Armstead, et cetera, or something else I'm not thinking of because you're smarter than me? What goes into that?
No, I think you hit it. I mean, they went out and they signed Javon Hargrave because of that, the ability to do exactly that. And you saw that happen in the Giants game with his sack. And then, that just sort of opens it up for everybody else. Jim Harbaugh used to have a saying that, you open up a jar of olives and the olives don't come out because they're packed in so tight. But once you take that first olive out, they all come rushing out. And Javon Hargrave is the olive. Once you account for that big olive, the other olives start to slide out. And that's Eric Armstead, who I think is healthier than he's been. I know Javon Kinlaw is healthier than he's been, and those are the three main ones there. So it's it's a combination of things, but the planets are really aligning in the middle of that defense.
I'm thinking back to the game Thursday, Matt, as again Matt Barrows joins us, brought to you by Stockton Honda, Northern California's #1 Honda dealer. It's been a part of the Niners offense for years, but I felt like Thursday, Matt, was as good as we've seen broken tackles, yards after really contact, not even catch, between Kittle and certainly Deebo. Do the Niners and Kyle Shanahan account for that? Because I don't know how you would, but they have so many short underneath routes that turn in from 8 yards to 20 to 30 sometimes. Do they know that this is really a common thing that's going to happen for them?
Well, I think the answer is yes. I think Shanahan knows that if he gets the ball in Deebo Samuel's hands, that is going to happen. It's just it's not going to happen every time, but the track record is such that you can rely on it. And I thought it was interesting that they had 39 carries in that game because 40 is every now and then Kyle Shanahan circles the game and says, you know what, we're going to have 40 runs in this game. And it usually comes against the Rams. And this time it was 39, and I doubt that he intended to have 40 or 39. But my point is that some of those short throws, the quickie passes, the screens, the quick slants are essentially runs. And, it's just a number that Shanahan likes to get to. And he knows that if he can get to it, the game is probably over in the middle of the third quarter because the defense is just capitulating. And you had a Giants team that, playing on a short week, A, and B, had been on the road. Like I mentioned, they played the Cardinals before the 49ers. They stayed out in Arizona. So there was a propensity there to get fatigued. And I think Shanahan saw that. He saw all the blitzes, knew that Aiyuk wasn't playing, knew that the passing game might not be as developed as it normally is, and went with basically a really, run game heavy game plan, and it worked.
Matt Barrows with us. Matt, Brock Purdy and the Niners are 3-0 this year. Brock Purdy and the Niners, going back to last year, he doesn't lose games that he finishes. And I told Greg Papa this Friday. Jason Ross kept asking me, when are you going to believe? When are you going to believe? What's it going to take? Super Bowl, this, that, whatever. I said, I don't know, but I'll know when I know. And in the most weird thing, it hit me during the Giants game. And it wasn't anything he did special. And a lot of people said, Matt, he struggled, in the first half. And he did a little bit. But it's his confidence. It's that there's no way to describe it, but it's that sixth sense of knowing when the pocket's collapsing. The difference between the guys that start doing the moonwalk and the guys that are able to adjust and or stay still and disciplined. And it finally hit me. I think this is the guy. So my question for you is this. What's your comp to Brock Purdy? Is there a comp? Screw the draft stuff. But is there a comp to Brock Purdy that pops into your head? Past or present?
Yeah. It does, and like you, I'm waiting to kind of break out this comp because I've heard this comp for the last 2 decades or so, and the comp is Drew Brees, and it seemed like every small quarterback with a not so great arm who had immediate success, your Kelly Holcombs, your Scott Tolzie's, there were a lot of Drew Brees comparisons. Over the last, when Drew Brees was one of the top quarterbacks, and nobody ever became Drew Brees. Like the veil was lifted at some point, and the person was exposed as just an ordinary guy. And they were usually, they went from the great starter to, okay, maybe he's a good backup, to third string guy to not in the NFL anymore. And so I'm still, I'm glad you had your epiphany, but I'm holding off. I mean, it's all there.
What's it going to take? What for you? Sorry to interrupt, but for you. Do you know what it's going to take? Do you have that in mind?
No, I don't know if I know what it's going to take. I mean, to me, it's got to be a full season. Being healthy to me is such a big part of it. I think I said this on your show, but this is my 22nd year, and this is and I have covered 5 seasons where a quarterback plays every game of the regular season. That's 2 Alex Smiths, that's 2 Colin Kaepernicks, and that's 1 Jimmy Garoppolo. Wow. And everyone else, I mean, it's all injuries, and so that's such a big part of it, such a huge part of it, just staying healthy. And like you said, to his credit, he does seem to have that sixth sense about where to slide and how to buy that extra, it's not even, I won't even say it's a second, it's a half second on those 2 TD passes. Both of those were brilliant in that there was one place that he could throw the ball in both cases, and there was a half second that he could get rid of it, and he did it on both occasions. And I get why you had your revelation in that game, because that seemed like a game where, okay, this is going to be Brock Purdy's bad game. Okay, the Giants are just blitzing the you know what out of him, they've taken the 49ers a little bit by surprise. Shanahan isn't on his game. This is going to be the game where he falls to earth. And that first quarter, he didn't look all that sharp. Throwing behind receivers, near picks, the receivers had to be DBs, and he turned it around. I think that was very impressive, that he was able to take what started out as a bad game. The Giants were playing really good defense, certainly throwing things at him that he doesn't usually see, and yet he was able to kind of take that choppy start and turn it into a really smooth finish. And I think that that's a huge point in his favor. So yeah, it was an impressive game from that standpoint.
Matt, you talked about injuries, and obviously that is important for the quarterback to stay healthy. Was Brandon Aiyuk, you think that's just a 1 week absence for him? How's he going to look for this week?
Yeah, that was the indication on Thursday. I asked Shanahan if this had been a Sunday game, would he have played? And he said, yeah, that's the way it was trending. They had hoped that he had woken up on Thursday and felt better. It wasn't better to the degree that they would have liked, and so they went with the prudent choice of resting him, knowing that they have so many other fantastic weapons. So my guess, I mean, they have a practice today, so we'll have a better gauge of it. And there might not be a Deebo Samuel because of the ribs, but it seemed like both guys would be back for the Cardinals game on Sunday.
Let's talk about the Cardinals game before we end our conversation, Matt. Looking ahead, Cardinals are 1-2. A couple flips of the coin here and there, they could be 3-0, and obviously they're coming off an incredibly impressive, really wire-to-wire victory over the Dallas Cowboys, who many thought had the most impressive first two games of the season. So when you look at Arizona, is there a strength that Arizona has that exploits? I know the Niners don't have a ton of weaknesses, but is there something you're key to the game there you're looking at to make sure the Niners don't get in trouble like Dallas did?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that no 49ers opponent has done in the last few years, which is just run the ball consistently. Like, decide that you're going to run the ball and then follow through for a full 4 quarters. They rarely see that. Maybe Josh Jacobs last year in that game in Las Vegas, but it's a rare thing to have a team just dedicate themselves to the run. And like I said, Connor is having a strong start to the season. That offensive line, spectacular, but it's good and it's consistent. And I imagine that's what Gannon and the rest of that coaching staff want to do. Let's not make it too complicated. Let's just do our thing and run the ball. So if the 49ers can stop the run, I mean, I think that's they probably win the game. But it's something that the Cardinals have done well. I'm sure the 49ers noticed that these last couple of weeks. So basic, but that's how the Cardinals are winning right now.
That is Matt Barrows of The Athletic joining us each and every Tuesday, brought to you by Stockton Honda, Northern California's #1 Honda dealer. Matt, we appreciate you. So far, so good. We're 3 for 3, and let's make it 4 next week when we talk to you. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank
Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. That is Matt Barrows. I want to remind you, Sactown Sports is your home of each and every 49er game. And you can check out SactownSports.com from Emil and company, rolling out all kinds of insider Niner content. We'll take a break. When we come back, let's follow up on that a little bit. Look ahead to the week. Also have some more NFL notes for you before we get to 4 Down Territory at 8:27. So we'll take a quick break, pay some bills. Just a 1-minute break here. Don't go away. We're right back on Sactown Sports.
Has Monty